Hello, my friends. Dr. Renee Tucker here, creator of the Tucker Biokinetic Technique. I had a question come in, and it's about, is it ever too late to heal something? We're not talking today about, when's the right time to put your horse to sleep. We're talking about just trying to heal a problem in your horse. I know some people out there have been working for years, and it's just not working. So let's just talk about that a little bit today. So my feeling is that it's never too late, given enough time. So as long as there's still time, there's still a chance to fix things. Now, why would I say that? That seems kind of ridiculous, right? Maybe way too much optimistic. Well, actually, the body, first of all, is always trying to fix itself. As you know, we have an innate healing system that's always trying to fix us. It's always working on it. The immune system's always functioning. It never gives up. So we have that going for us. And the other thing that I don't think is talked about enough is that the body's always replacing itself. It's constantly turning over new cells in our body. So you may be familiar with our red blood cells. We use those up. They get a little old, tired of running around the body. And the body absorbs those and makes more from the spleen. So we're constantly getting new red blood cells and absorbing the old ones. Those are pretty fast. And now, in a slower fashion, but it's still happening, our bone is being replaced. We have our little osteoclast cells that run around and, they take out old bone cells, and the osteoblast cells come in and make new bone cells. So there's different times on the internet. I'm trying to find it. But it's on average, it's about 7 years. Every 7 years, you have a completely new set of bone. So that's interesting. So that is my point, that the body's always healing things. But sometimes things are inhibiting the healing process. And that is when we don't see the healing that we like to see. What could be holding that up? Well, a couple things. One is pretty straightforward, misalignment. So the person who emailed me this question, and I appreciate any questions, so please email them to support@tuckerbiokinetic.com. Okay, I was asking about my friend I was telling the story of, who has, had that very swollen knee, super swollen, always icing it, always lifting up her foot, putting it on the desk to keep her knee up high. For like 6 months, finally went to the doctor. Turned out it was her hip, bone on bone. So her question was, could she still fix this? Now again, my friend, I knew her, before I moved from Washington, so it's been lots of years. And I didn't know what I know now, or I would have encouraged her to not get a hip replacement, at least to try it. Because, the bone replaces itself every 7 years. So that depends on pain, Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But anyways, knowing what I know now, sure, that cartilage is always replacing itself. Unless, for example, there's misalignment. So let's say that your pelvis is misaligned. And then let's say that the right side is just higher than the left, okay? So what does that do? That puts more weight on the left side of your body, particularly your left leg. Now that puts more weight and pressure on your left hip. Now your cartilage and the joint, it's going to be fine for quite a long time. But that extra weight and pressure is not perfectly distributed all along that hip joint. It's not. It's more pressure is going to be on one specific side of the hip joint. Where exactly is going to depend on the individual. But it's going to be one little spot. And that cartilage is going to get tired faster, perhaps, than the body can replace it. And that's what happens when we start getting these bone-on-bone wear spots that get really painful. So if there's a misalignment, it's adding extra pressure, and the body cannot keep up with replacing it. That can happen pretty quickly, depending on the amount of pressure that's there, or it can happen over a long time if it's just a little bit off misalignment. Now, I have to do my cheap personal promo that if you happen to know Tucker Biokinetic Technique, you can align every bone in your body anytime you want. TBT works on horses, humans, dogs, cats, lizards, chickens, you name it. All right, super fun. So you could do that yourself. Then you don't have to worry about, well, am I getting arthritis or not, or all that kind of stuff. All right, so the second thing I wanted to mention that can hold up the body's own ability to heal itself is any kind of disease process. So, for example, if the liver is overloaded and essentially the liver's not functioning right, then things that the liver does will be inhibited. So what does the liver do? Well, it cleans the blood, and it also makes products for tendons and ligaments and cartilage. So sometimes our body will be just super happy to rebuild our cartilage, but it's not getting enough groceries to make the cartilage. And that's coming from the liver being unable to keep up with demand. There's a lot of toxins and heavy metals and chemicals in our food and our environment. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. So it's not a bad idea at all to do a liver cleanse for yourself or your horses, once or twice a year, just because. Any herbal one is perfectly fine. It's just a good idea to help clean that out, to keep things going. Let's see. All right. So any disease process will keep the body from fixing itself. And then the last one I was going to mention is any drugs. You're like, well, duh. You can't take drugs. Right. Yes. No drugs for the horses, please. Because, they're processed by the kidneys and liver, and side effects occur, everywhere in the body. But one I did want to mention is a good example is using Tildren or Osphos, and I know there's another one out there now with a different name that I can't remember, and there's other names of them in humans as well. But the point is, those Tildren, Osphos, etc., inhibit bone resorption. So our friendly little osteoclasts who would like to come in and repair micro damage are inhibited. So now the body can't do its normal turnover of bone. Remember, we talked about an average turnover of bone for the whole body is about 7 years. So you're like, well, I got plenty of time. Well, you do. But really, we don't want to have any drugs that are messing with horses' ability to fix themselves. And those drugs are one of them that does that. Now, I understand if you're between a rock and a hard spot and you just got to try something, that's cool. There's plenty of people who are like, I either try this or I have to put my horse down. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy in a difficult place to be. Awful. So in that case, if that's all you got, then that's what you got. All right, we all got to do our very best that we can, knowing what we know at the time. And that's perfect. But if you can, we want to avoid drugs in general. Not just the Banamine, the Butte. I'm sure you guys know about that, but any kind of drugs. Like I was just watching some ad about let's grow our eyelashes longer. Some drug for human eyelashes to be longer. And then, yes, of course, it ends with an entire paragraph of all the terrible possible side effects that they say at super speed, so you can't really hear them. And it's just, yes, if we change our body's ability to heal itself, it's going to mess stuff up. So that's about it for today. Please do let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.